Hello, welcome again to another edition of Talladega History according to me. I'm your host, Dave Hurst. What you're looking at right here is the Wren Memorial Building, as it's called now. But during the time, this was called a conscript camp. During the Civil War, this is a place where young men come to learn how to march, how to shoot their weapons, and prepare for the Civil War. And they had tents all in these group of oaks right here, over here in this area. This right here, what we're looking at, was once called Wallace Sawmill. And these are two streets leading in and out of Talladega, West Street and East Street. So all down through here was conscript camp. Now, during the Civil War, the Yankee soldiers come through here and burn all this down and destroyed this camp, so they couldn't train for the war no more. So there you go, a little bit of our history. We're going to go on down now and see a little bit more and see what else we can find. What you're looking at right here is once was the old post office here in Talladega. It's now Talladega Water and Sewer Department. But during the day, at one time before this brick building was built, this was the old Exchange Hotel here in Talladega. It was used during the Civil War as a field hospital. As you see in the back down this hill right here, soldiers were brought in by rail car and brought up this hill to this hospital where they were taken care of. A lot of these old buildings here in Talladega were still here during the Civil War. Let's see if we can get a look back down this way. What you're seeing is North Street in Talladega. Notice the hill in the background back up there. During at one point, there was a skirmish with a group of Northern soldiers. And they fell back, once they skirmished with the soldiers, they fell back and hid out through Talladega in here. And the Yankees had to go look and find them, and it was a big thing. All these buildings down through here was called the Commission. The Commission was a place where you come for supplies. Everything during the war effort was stored in these buildings here, so that when General Croxton, I believe I got that name right, the Union general who came in to siege Talladega at the time, threatened to burn all this down right here. In fact, the mayor of the time had to save Talladega from being burned. What you're looking at right here is an old house that was here during the Civil War. This was where the Union soldiers, or the general, actually General Croxton, let me see if I got that name right. Yep. This is where he was held up at. Now, what I'm going to be reading is a tape from a lady who was interviewed during the time that her father was the mayor of Talladega. Said, my father asked if he would conduct him to the general. The general's headquarters were in the house on West Street after the war, owned by John Adams. During the war, it was one-story building with a full front porch of the house. The general was promenading the porch, and the house was some distance from the road. When my father entered the gate, he gave a Masonic sign, and the general recognized it and met my father halfway between the house and the gate and extended his hand and asked, what is your request? The judge informed him that he had heard of the burning of the house, of the town, and could he stop it? So together they rode uptown and stopped the burning of Talladega. And it all took place right here at this old house in 1864. Asked him why I'm recording a road going up a hill. Well, I think this is one of the points that the group of Confederate soldiers confronted the Union soldiers that tried to siege Talladega in 1864. I've always mentioned, always take the high ground. Well, this is the high ground coming into the town. Look right back down through here. I mean, I could throw a rock 2 times and hit the square. That's about how short it is. It looks further on the camera, but it's not. But this is North Street, and any papers you read will mention of a battle taking place, a skirmish that was called between the two forces, and they fell back into town here and hid out, and the soldiers, all Union soldiers, had to go ahead and look for them. Plus, I want to bring your attention to some of these old houses. There's one in particular I'm looking at in the distance right there. Isn't that beautiful? Could be a nice house. And I imagine it was at one time. You know, during the Civil War, back to the Civil War battle we was talking about in Talladega, like I said, a lot of these old places were here during the time. And still are today. You just got to know what you're looking at. So this is one of the buildings that was here during the Civil War. Nice old steeple church located on North Street right here. So you get around and read the sign. It's the First Presbyterian Church, established in 1834. So it would have been here. I'm sure the soldiers all run right down through here, fighting, taking their way back into the town, defending their way of life as they saw it during the period. A time that's well gone past. Let's look at this old building right here. Like a regular old building. Purefoy Hotel. Won a 5-star hotel during the heyday. I'll have to talk about that one day. Just some of the things you can look at. I like doing these old towns, talk about them, their history, what it was. Hope they carry it on in the future. So we're looking at the old Purefoy Hotel, which, like I said, was a 5-star hotel at one point. During the 1890s, it was reported that one of our presidents, you have to look it up for yourself who was president during the 1890s, stopped at this hotel on his way to Claremont Springs. Now, Claremont Springs, located approximately 20-25 miles from Talladega, was a source of mineral water, and everybody back during the time was on this big kick of healthy living and bathing in the water. But this is where it stayed at. Rooms were expensive, $2.50 a night. Thank you, redneck. So there you go, a little bit more. We're going down and see if we can find some of these other old buildings you see. I see an interesting sign. You don't see anymore. Let's go on around. Have a side shot of the old Purefoy Hotel. Notice the old fire escape ladder. Each one of the rooms could tell a tale. They could probably tell a good one, I would bet. We're in behind some of these old buildings. And that's where all the history still is. Here's a Roebuck Company. Hadn't been that in God knows how many years, you know. Hadn't been. Some of it modern, most of it old, dilapidated. But still here. Oh, one of the reasons I wanted to stop and film back here was on the other side of these walls right here, it's the main square. The first hanging that ever took place in Talladega happened on this side of the square. The scaffolds were built and an Indian was hung for the murder of a man. And after he was hung and dead, they buried him right here, somewhere in this area. Right here, no well-in train depot. The town ended right here at the square. There's nothing at all back this way. This didn't exist. So supposedly there's an old Indian buried back here somewhere. There you go. Gonna move on. It was reported during the Civil War that the Croxton's, General Croxton, ordered the burning of the old jail. Now, from history, I know that the old jail was located back here at some point. And I don't know if one of these buildings I'm looking at is that old jail. I believe it was. Sure, these old bars were put up there for some reason, keep people out or keep people in. What do you think? Old buildings. It's seen better days too. That's what I like doing. I like exploring old places like this. Looking in the back of these old rundown buildings, wondering what was here during the day. What's the future have for them? Pretty I tell the future. It's not good. So there you go. That, I think, is going to wind up our little trip to Dave. Sorry it's not all that great of one, but I think it tells the story. Here in Talladega during the Civil War. Finally ending our place right here at the Davy and Allison Memorial. Here in downtown old Talladega. So if you get a chance, come on by and see it. Just waiting here for you. Bye now.